So I think the statute of limitations has passed for this, but I've been driving around a lot, and because I go home, I commute home, and during that time it's the holidays. So it's currently December 9th. That's when I'm recording this, and it's historically a time where people get rather lonely, and you start to reflect on things. Maybe you miss the proximity, you miss the feeling of having someone. You have to go back and face your family, talk about the proceeds of what has happened over your time at college or over your time away. And you start to reflect on the social life of the time that you spent, just in general, because, well, it's the end of the year. And I was in a conversation with a friend of mine, a roommate, actually, well, housemate. And he was like, no, my ex's mom is cool. Like, I really enjoy talking to her. Like, I texted her recently. And he's been going through a similar situation that I was, and he's been texting his ex. I still haven't broken the no contact thing with my most recent ex. And his remarks about her mom like got me thinking I never really got to thank her for trusting me, for welcoming me into her home. I didn't really appreciate it as much at the time, but I was the first guy that she ever like let into her home. And there was a guy that came before me, a guy that she liked, a guy that is he's currently off, I think, at UC San Diego. He's doing research. He's already like ready to be a nurse or an EMT or something. Like he's just really established, bigger than me, smarter than me, just anything that you'd want in a guy. And yet he was never interested in her. He was very dense, not the most social guy, not really out there. And, good stay at home body, nice guy to talk to, nice guy to look at, but just really, really antisocial. And I just didn't make the cut for her at the time. But yeah, that was the first guy that she ever let into her home. And then there was me. And I'm a fan of physical contact. I'm somebody who's pretty outspoken. I'm not one to bite my tongue. And her mother stood very strongly on things that weren't super common for somebody who lives in my demographic area. And she still welcomed me in her home. Never admonished me, never talked shit about me to my face. Allegedly never talked shit about me to my ex. She just said that I was quiet, apparently, which was surprising to me. I see myself as a very noisy and talkative person. And she made this potato soup one time. It was pretty good, like really good. And her mom is a radiologist, so she works long hours. She's standing on her feet a lot. She's spending a lot of time just looking at x-rays. It's not the most fulfilling work. And she doesn't like managing people, but she does because she wanted to get her daughter through college. She wanted to make those ends meet. And that meant that she only worked on weekends. And that meant that she never got to really like spend time with her daughter and have some time with her because she was working on the weekends and she was just driving her around during the weekdays. And she did that just to provide for her daughter, to give her a life that she couldn't have growing up. And, that's the story of every parent, but it's a noble one. And it matters even more that she was a single parent, that there was supposed to be more income and then the person just didn't come through. And there was maybe a difference of values, things change. But, life didn't really work out how she thought it would. But she made it work for her daughter. And to me, someone who came from what people would consider a successful household, two parent, good school district, good area, safe area to grow up in, I felt very privileged in that house. And I also felt very honored that her mom would choose me, of all people, to trust with her only daughter that she basically raised all on her own. And she did the most to be available and there for her, and her daughter, of course, like said that she appreciated it, but on the day to day never really showed it or represented it or said thanks very often in the non-formal, non-agreeable way. And I look back at those times, and She'd give us our own space, even within our home. She felt comfortable enough to fall asleep when we were there. She'd let me stay until like 10 or 11 p.m. and she'd have to wake up at 5 and have a shift at 6 a.m. in the morning. It would probably be at 12. And I'd be there like every weekend because at the time I was doing two sports. So that on top of my schoolwork, I was pretty busy. And I wouldn't have a lot of time to see my girlfriend. So it would only be those weekends where we'd be able to squeeze out some time together. Because you know what you do on the weekends, the volunteer work, catching up on homework, catching up on sleep. You have a meet or something. And you work. Well, at least that was the case for me for all of those. But she really helped me. Like, really helped facilitate our relationship. She endorsed our relationship. And that was just an experience that I never got to have with like somebody's family, because I was used to power dynamics where like parent didn't really do well by their daughter, and maybe that's why they ended up dating me. Or I don't know, where I just never really got to meet the parents in that way, or I thought that I was a pretty good kid, you know, good grades, athletic. I like to believe that I'm well mannered, and the parents liked me, you know, but they never were willing to give up their kid. I started dating really young, I think like eighth grade, and you know I didn't get that experience with someone where I just got to kind of know someone's mom, and where that mom trusted me with her daughter, and that was a really special thing to me. So when the relationship ended, it's been months now. Shit, I lost count, but I never got to go back and thank her. And she likes scotchmallows. And that reminded me of the winter times because, well, last Christmas I got her scotchmallows and she bought me a really nice Logitech mouse, actually, that I didn't actually end up using. I lost it. Uh, but do you ever like a real Christmas gift? And even wrote a card. And it was saying that she appreciates what I've allegedly been doing for her daughter, how I've been supporting her, been there for her, the type of like a role model boyfriend. I was her first ever boyfriend too. That's why I say I was the first guy. And I never got to write her a letter back. I I wrote a letter at Christmas, and I basically just said thank you for endorsing us and thanks for supporting us, letting me in your home and making food. And I know you're really tired and you work really hard, and thanks for always allowing me a space to be myself, like in your home. But I didn't get to do that at the end of the relationship because I thought I'd have another opportunity, another time to say thanks, another time to get her scotchmallows. And here we are, back in the holiday seasons, and it's about the time where I'm starting to buy gifts for people, right? But I didn't actually end up buying her mom anything this time around, naturally. And I really thought actually that I would. I still know where they live. I'm going to just assume they didn't move, even though I know that they were thinking about it before I got broken up with. And the statute of limitations has passed. I don't mean to open a new wound. I don't mean to go behind my ex's back and try to rekindle a relationship with her mom, who treated me so well in her absence. And her mom's also a pretty scrutinous and judgmental person, probably a consequence of working in healthcare. But yeah, so I'm wishing them the best. And I take this moment of self-reflection mostly to say thanks and to appreciate people while they're still around. You don't know when you're going to get the next opportunity to say I love you to someone or to say thank you to somebody. So it's best practice to do it as often as you can, whenever you feel it. Be genuine in that way. And yeah, that was the hope for me. And I go home as often as I can. And I like to reach out to people nowadays, and I don't mind doing so, even though I used to never do so when I was younger. And it was mostly because of this. Not specifically my ex's and mom in particular, but mostly because it's nice to recognize people's efforts. It helps people make you feel seen. And there really was a lot that went into the relationship being as successful as it was. And doing justice to it for me means not only learning from those mistakes and becoming a better person, yada yada yada, but appreciating the people who made it possible, which wasn't only me and her, but her family and my own family supporting me, endorsing me, and people willing to make it work together, and a group of people who supported them. So, yeah, just some thoughts that I've been having. I like to put them into these videos and just talk about it, but yeah. Thank you to my ex's mom. I know you'll never hear this, but I really do appreciate how much you gave up for us. And you may not realize it, but there's a lot of firsts. A lot of firsts that I really do feel honored to have had. Okay.